Hi, today I want to check out something really cool. You can record your speaker cabinets 4x12s and 2x12s, either by close miking, or you can put the mic further out and actually pick up all the speakers, all 4 speakers of 4x12 or 2 speakers of a 2x12 using only one mic. That, however, requires that you position the mic carefully to avoid phase cancellation and to make sure that you have a good frequency balance. And the cool thing is that this can actually be basically geometrically determined. Speakers are directional in different extents, or 2 different extents depending on frequency. The lowest frequency is just spread out, 180 degrees. But the higher the frequencies are, the more it becomes beaming. For the highest frequencies, the sound just beams out just straight ahead. So with the information on how your particular speaker spreads the sound in terms of angle, you can calculate how far out you need to position the mic. And in this case, I have used 22.5 degrees for where it starts beaming for this speaker. Depending on how big the speaker is, the beaming or the narrowness of the high end is differently pronounced, more pronounced for bigger speakers and so on. But for a 12-inch speaker, around 1 kilohertz or something like that, the sound starts to be really narrow. And then you just have to have a triangle and calculate. The width of the speaker and the width between the cabinets. So you have the base of the triangle, and then you can calculate where does your mic start picking up. And now I'm talking 2x12. Where does your mic start to also pick up the higher frequencies? And in this case, it turns out to be 18 inches for a 2x12 or 46 centimeters. So there you have the low end and enough of the top end to get the balanced sound. Then if you move out even further, it's you're going to lose some low end, and you're going to get more of the room, and you're going to get a less unbalanced sound. So what we're going to do today is to do this for a 2x12 and a 4x12. And a 4x12 is not a triangle, it's a square pyramid instead. And then you calculate it with the base and the edge angle, and then you can get the same results. So for the 4x12, it's 64 centimeters or 25 inches instead, where you start picking up enough of the high end to get the balanced sound. I'm actually not going to use a 2x12 in this video. I'm going to use a 4x12, a slanted 4x12. And it turns out that is a really good thing. It is slanted, because then you can record the bottom 2 speakers like a 2x12. And I really love those results. So I'm going to do that. Use the 2x12 techniques on the bottom row of a slanted 4x12. And then I'm going to record a B cab, a straight 4x12, using the 4x12 concept. Now, since this is just in theory, I'm going to make experiments now to confirm this or refute it. So I'm going to place the mics, close to the cab and move them gradually out to see, is this actually a legit distance that actually produces better results than other distances or not? I'm also going to compare these techniques to the techniques I usually use. In picture here you can see 3 other techniques also. So we're going to investigate them at different distances and different angles and compare the best result from each technique to these multi-speaker recording techniques. Now, historically here on the channel, I've usually used a room mic and a closed mic very close to the grill, using one of these 3 techniques to the right here. and then adding a room mic really far out in the room. The problem here is that neither of these two mics are good enough. The close mic is too nasal and unnatural sounding, and it doesn't have a realistic low end. It suffers from the proximity effect. There is bass all over, smeared out over the beautiful growl that you want to capture. So I complement that with a room mic. But since I use a close mic, the room mic has to be placed really far out in the room to not get phase cancellation. And there you get the growl. But it's kind of like a grainy black and white photo of the growl. It's not the punch. So this is going to be hard to use in the mix. And that's what prompted me to look at this other technique instead, the multi-speaker recording technique. Because when you mix things together, you don't want all sorts of contamination. The far out room mic is just a lot of contamination. It's not punchy and so on. It's too much of constant tonalities that comes from other things than the actual guitar. And the close mic the same. The proximity effect is just contamination. Now many people use multiple close mics and blend them together. I have never been able to get a realistic growling low end from that. Actually, it's kind of have a compilation of many close-up pictures to make a picture of someone from a distance. It doesn't. I can't get that to sound realistic. I bet there are methods, but I don't think it's intuitive enough for me to do it on an operative, basis when I record. One reason that it took 1,400 videos for me to come to start using this is the fact that when you compare close miking, which has a lot of low end and a lot of high end, it doesn't sound good, but it, when you compare that to the recordings, it sounds closer to the recordings because it's so much low end and high end. When you back out a bit, you get a more balanced sound, but it compared to the close miking, that can be perceived as boxy and garage-like and amateurish and so on. But if you place the mic really carefully and use some post EQ, that's the way to get the best sounds. But that's why I always opted for the other things earlier, if that makes sense. So let's go. So this really focuses on the low end and lower mids. So you really get a physical sense of the guitar, which is really important in this kind of music. And also I showed you how if you can put pretty extreme post EQ on it, both on the low end and the high end, and it still sounds natural. Now the top end became a bit fizzy with this EQ, but I mean this is Cubase EQ. If you get the result in Cubase that you really like, you can do it with a hardware EQ. You can ask someone at a professional establishment in a studio or something to use a Pultec or some really good EQ on it to get the same result, but without the fizziness. It wasn't very fizzy, but it compared to the dry recording, the top end seemed more fizzy. All right, now we're gonna do experiments and move out the mic to see if this distance, 46 centimeter for two speakers, actually is some kind of optimum or not. All right, let's go. All right, well, not until 40 centimeters, basically, it was bright enough. So I think 46 was actually my favorite. When you went out further, it became less focused and balanced. That could, of course, also be a result of the fact that more room is added. So with a perfect room, maybe you can go out really far and get cool results. But that's what I could verify here. Now, these were just the dark power chords. Now I'm going to play some solos and so on, so you get a sense for it also here. All right, now we're going to compare the result of this multi-speaker recording technique to how I usually record. Maybe you've seen that I have the mic pretty close to the cab and pointing downwards. So first we're going to try a bunch of angles here. Then we're going to take the best angle and compare it to the multi-speaker recording to see how they compare. All right, well, this was way too fizzy when on axis, so now let's take the best angle here and compare it to the multi-speaker recording technique. All right, as you could hear, the close micing was way too nasal and it didn't have the details in the growl compared to the multi-speaker recording technique. Now let's move the mic out a bit for the close micing technique. Maybe that produces better results. This was a bit closer, but I think it's still too nasal and doesn't have the detail in the growl. Another technique that I sometimes use is to place the mic at the first rib of the cone and move it out. So let's check out a number of distances there and take the best distance and compare it to the multi-speaker recording technique. Well, this was even closer to the multi-speaker recording technique, but it's still nasal sounding, and you don't have the details. All right, now for reference, we're also going to check out having the speaker on axis at different distances, radially out towards the periphery, and I'm going to take the best one of those also and compare it to the multi-speaker. All right. Well, so far we've compared these standard closed miking techniques to the recording of the slanted 4x12 recording 2 speakers. Now we're going to check out a B cab, straight cab, and pick up all 4 speakers with one mic. This is a lot harder because there is lots of phase cancellation going on here. I have 2 distances here that we're going to look at. So let's do that first. First 46 centimeter and then 61 centimeter. All right. Well, I could hear that you had to back out with the mic to 60-ish centimeters to get enough high end to get the balanced sound. But I think this sounds thin. I really can't pick up the low end, aiming in between all 4 speakers like this, based on this pyramid here. The cab is really growly in the room, but I'm not picking up that here, and I've tried super many distances and positions in the room for this. I managed to pick up the slanted 4x12 using the bottom 2 speakers. So I tried all pairs here, and there I also picked up the low end. A bit more phase cancellation since it's a straight cab, and you get problems from the other pairs of speakers. But nonetheless, it gave me the growly sound I looked for. But when I put it in the middle, there is too much phase cancellation in some way to get a good growling low end. Right now I have an X pattern of 2 greenbacks and 2 blackbacks here. After this, I actually replaced the blackbacks. I thought that maybe I could get more bass by by having the exact same speakers, but it actually got worse, even thinner, that sound. I made sure that none of the speakers were out of phase, so that's cool also. So what and I'm guessing, I think you really have to have speakers that are basically identical, new speakers, to be able to record a 4x12, picking up all 4 speakers at the same time. Do you know of anyone that has done an experiment of that and has been able to reproduce the low end and the high end for the 4x12 in a realistic way? It must be possible. So that will be future work for me. But I really think that the recording technique of picking up the bottom 2 speakers of a slanted 4x12 at 46 centimeters, that is the way to go. That's what I'm going to use. But it bugs me that I can't pick up the 4x12 in a good way. So that will be future work. Now I want to hear what you think about this. Cheers.